The U.S. Senate is staying in the hands of the Republicans, but Democrats are still dancing their way to Capitol Hill. They've retaken control of the House while also making history by increasing minority and female representation in Congress. A Democratic majority in the House cannot force the U.S. to rejoin the Iran nuclear deal or the Paris Climate Accord, but the parties promising to make life harder for the president.
Today is more than about Democrats and Republicans. It's about restoring the Constitution's checks and balances to the Trump administration.
Nancy Pelosi, who's hoping to be the next Speaker of the House, has pledged to lead the resistance against Republican efforts to repeal healthcare reforms passed under former President Barack Obama. House Democrats will also force Trump to negotiate future legislation on issues like immigration, infrastructure spending, and corporate tax cuts. While the election outcome won't likely lead to Trump's impeachment, it does allow Democrats to scrutinize the president and his appointees. That includes the power to subpoena his long-hidden tax returns. The political rebalancing in Washington didn't have a big impact on financial markets. U.S. equities edged higher, while global stocks got a boost.
For markets, probably this is not so relevant, who has the majority in the Senate. For markets, it's relevant what happens with the trade conflict, what happens with tax reforms, and so on. And here, very little is changing with this new constellation that Trump has a Democratic Congress.
With Trump still running the administration, investors are more concerned about rising interest rates and the ongoing trade dispute with China. Trump's meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping at the G20 summit in Argentina at the end of the month could be the biggest driver of market sentiment heading into 2019. While there are signs of thawing tensions ahead of the talks, they could still end in deadlock. But Trump can rest easy knowing his stance on China is one policy many Democrats are backing. Laila Humairah, TRT World.
We're joined now by Santosh Rao in New York. He's the head of research at Manhattan Venture Partners. Welcome back to the program. So the blue wave that some had predicted turned out to be more of a ripple, didn't it? But I'm wondering, what does a Democratic-dominated House mean for Donald Trump's economic agenda going forward, specifically his plans for more tax cuts and slashing government spending?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Like you said, it wasn't a red wave, it wasn't a blue wave, it was more, as someone said, it was more a rainbow wave. So we saw the Senate a little bit stronger than expected, House a little stronger than expected. So essentially in line, the results were in line. So I think this is healthy. It was expected. I think any new legislation is probably not going to happen. More tax cuts, not going to happen. More spending probably will. Democrats like infrastructure spending. Republicans do. I don't know if they will give Trump the benefit of passing that. So you're going to have a lot of push and pull there. But overall, I think Trump is not going to have a clean way to get what he wants. So there will be some hesitation. But let's wait and see. I think Obamacare will get stronger. So there's some pluses and minuses overall. But the agenda is definitely slowing down before the 2020 elections.
And we've seen in recent months continued economic growth in the United States. We've also seen record low unemployment. I'm wondering, will this change in the political landscape have an impact on America's economic prospects?
Yeah, I don't think the Democrats want to take the blame for slowing it down. I think it's in their best interests to show some legislation, not just investigations. They just can't be anti-Trump. They need to show that they have something to offer. And the last thing they can do is really derail the whole economy. It's doing very well. It's not going to help them in 2020. So I think that's all eyes are on 2020 now. a lot of things have already passed, so Trump doesn't have to worry. The tax cuts have already been done, the reforms have already been done. So the main things, the growth engine behind this economy is still intact, so that's not going to derail. The only thing was any incremental things that Trump was planning to do, like additional middle-class tax cuts. That's not going to happen very likely. But let's see. Let's wait and see how the things play out. Trump wants to have a conciliatory approach towards Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House, so the would-be Speaker of the House. So I think we'll have to wait and see. But overall, on the very high level, looks like things are going to slow down at the margins, and he's not going to get a clean way to what he wants.
Yes, another significant aspect of Donald Trump's economic agenda are his trade wars with various countries, including China. Do you think a Democrat-controlled House could, I guess, slow down that trade war momentum that he's been trying to engage in, or will it just be business as usual on the tariffs front?
I think as regarding trade wars with China, there is almost a near unanimous consensus that China is at fault and U.S. is on the receiving end of China's bad habits, bad practices. So I think in that end, I think the Democrats will support Trump. That's my view, and it helps them to do that. I think overall, I think that's what we want, the economy to grow. Ending the trade wars. Trump on his own might want to end the trade wars, might want to declare victory with China. So he's meeting with the president this month. Hopefully he gets something out of it. So the best thing he could expect or want is to kind of have an end to this with a victory of sorts for both parties, and we go ahead and come back to some kind of normality in terms of trade. So we'll see that. Hopefully he'll get that. Hopefully the Democrats will help him out because it's in the best interest of both the parties to have this in place.
And just very quickly, Santosh, there's been a lot of talk about House Democrats now finally being able to compel Donald Trump to reveal the elusive tax returns that were a huge issue during the 2016 campaign. Do you think that will happen, and does it even matter at this stage?
Yeah, I don't know how important it is. It's probably important for the Democratic base. They probably want to make a statement there. I think that's just going to delay the whole thing. In the larger scheme of things, that seems trivial. He's done over and beyond what he was expected to do, or in line with what he was expected to do. So I don't know if there is a broad consensus that tax returns are the most important thing at this point. But let's wait and see. I mean, it can be, politics is a very strange game, so they might go after him to make a statement. But I don't think it really matters in the larger scheme of things to really get his tax returns at this point.
Interesting times ahead. Okay, Santosh Rao in New York, thank you as always.